This baby was left to die. But one nurse changed everything overnight. You know, friends, they say not all parents deserve children, but every child deserves to be loved. And tonight, I want to tell you the story of a baby who never cried because nobody would come there to save him in that baby ward. But when a young teenager appeared for volunteering, she did something that no one dared. What she did next was nothing less than a miracle. Before we continue, tell us in the comments, where are you listening from? Everything began in Willowbrook General Hospital. The hospital pulsed with life, bright lights, polished floors, and the joyful sounds of celebrating families. But hidden at the end of the pediatric wing lay a room nobody ever entered, where unwanted babies were left in silence. These infants, labeled refused. Among them was a baby boy who learned not to cry because no one ever came for him. The tiny boy, forgotten by the world, whose story was about to change everything. Mia Carter had never been inside a hospital like that before. She was young, full of passion and enthusiasm, recruited for voluntary work. She came to seek some experiences and with a hope of changing lives at the hospital, a chance to do good deeds. But neither the kid laying behind the door or her knew what had fate written for them. There she encountered Nurse Gomez, stern, strict. Nobody dared look at her straight. Nurse Gomez's voice cut like winter wind as she handed Mia the clipboard. Your duties are here, and don't bother looking behind those doors. Her finger jabbed toward the hall's end. There, those cases are refused. The word landed heavy, bitter. Refused? Mia nodded. However, Mia lied. When the last shift ended, Mia's feet moved on their own out of curiosity. The hallway stretched longer at night. The door at the end, unmarked, screeched when she pressed her palm to it. Inside, the air tasted stale. And there, a baby who'd learned crying wasted energy. His fingers curled like autumn leaves around the blanket's edge. When Mia knelt, the vinyl floor cracked loud enough to make him flinch. When she approached her, she found a tag tangling in the crib. Name, Neon. Details, N.A. You're not alone, she breathed. The lie tasted sweet. That night found Mia staring at her ceiling. The baby's eyes, two dark pools, floated behind her lids. Not crying, never crying. Just watching, waiting. The next morning, Mia returned before her shift, slipping quietly into the dim hospital room. What she found shattered her. Her heart cracked seeing the signs of neglect. The formula bottle lay discarded on the cold floor, its contents untouched. The thin blanket lay tangled at the foot of the crib. Her heart cracked seeing these small signs of neglect. Without hesitation, she pulled a clean bottle from her bag, gently lifting to feed him. As she dabbed his face with tissues from her purse, something miraculous happened. For the first time, his eyes followed her movements with quiet awareness. In that moment, a fragile spark of hope flickered to life in the sterile room. From then on, Mia's world revolved around Neon. She spent every free moment by his crib, whispering stories and singing lullabies. Slowly but surely, he began responding, his hollow cheeks filling out. The first time he smiled at her, a real gummy baby smile, Mia felt something profound shift inside her chest. This was no longer just volunteering. This was love, pure and fierce, the kind that changes everything. The fragile happiness couldn't last. One quiet afternoon, Mia's heart stopped mid-step outside the staff room. Dr. Harrison's voice carried through the half-open door, cold and clinical. We're transferring the refused cases to Silver Pearl Children's Center. Nurse Gomez's reply came softer, laced with something Mia had never heard from her before: fear. That place isn't equipped for infants like Neon. Some won't make it. The words hit Mia like a physical blow. Her hands trembled as she pressed them to her stomach. That night, when the halls stood empty, Mia faced them both. You can't do this, she said, voice cracking. Tears burned hot trails down her cheeks, but she didn't wipe them away. He's finally living, finally smiling. You'd send him to die? Dr. Harrison's adjusted his glasses. Mia, there are protocols. You've done your part. Something inside her hardened. She straightened her shoulders, meeting his gaze without blinking. Not nearly enough. If this hospital won't save him, she whispered, then I damn well will. Mia didn't sleep that night. She sat at her kitchen table, searching and calling anyone who might help little Nyan. The computer light glowed in the dark as she wrote emails with tired fingers. Please, she typed again and again, this baby needs a home. When morning came, she picked up the phone. Many people said no, some hung up right away. Mia's heart sank with each call. Then a kind woman named Carla answered. I hear how much you care, Carla said gently. Let me try. Give me 3 days. Those words became Mia's lifeline. While she waited, Mia cared for Nyan like he was her own child. She brought soft pajamas to keep him warm, a rattle that made him smile, bottles of milk warmed just right. Every night she rocked him and sang quiet songs until his eyes closed. You're safe now, she'd whisper, kissing his forehead. I won't let you be alone again. Her phone stayed in her pocket, always ready. Any ring might be the call that would change Nyan's life. Mia prayed it would come soon. On the 3rd day, the phone finally rang. We found them, Carla's voice came through. Good people, Bob and Manissa, they'll come tomorrow. Mia's hands shook as she hung up. This was the miracle she'd prayed for. So why did her chest hurt so much? The hospital hallway seemed longer than ever as Mia walked beside Bob and Manissa. The kind couple moved slowly, giving her time. When they reached Nyan's crib, the baby's eyes, those bright, knowing eyes, darted between faces. Imagine knowing only one person's touch, one voice, one smell of safety, then suddenly being handed to strangers. Mia knelt down until her face was level with his. Your new life starts today, little one. Her kiss lingered on his cheek like a blessing. Go be happy. As she placed Nyan in Manissa's waiting arms, the young mother's tears fell onto his blanket. Bob's strong hand squeezed Mia's shoulder, wordless thanks passing between them. Mia stood at the hospital doors, watching them go. Bob opened the car door carefully, like he was handling something precious. Manissa settled Nyan in his car seat, tucking the yellow blanket Mia had given him around his tiny shoulders. The engine started. The car began to move. Mia's hands pressed against the glass. She didn't remember raising them. Tears came fast. Happy tears because Nyan would have parents to tuck him in every night. Hurting tears because those arms wouldn't be hers. The car grew smaller, then turned the corner and was gone. Mia stayed there, her forehead against the cool glass, feeling like she'd left part of herself in that back seat. Days passed. Mia still walked the hospital halls, but now her footsteps echoed louder. The room where he'd slept stood quiet, sheets changed, toys gone, like he'd never been there at all. Then one evening, her phone buzzed. Carla's message glowed on the screen. If there are more children like Nyan, let us help. That night, Mia truly turned over the other files. Baby Grace, abandoned after her mother disappeared. Little James, left by parents who couldn't care for his special needs. So many others, lying quiet as shadows. Her breath caught. Nyan hadn't been the only one, just the first one she'd seen. A heavy truth settled in Mia's bones. She couldn't fix everything. But then, maybe she didn't have to. If one phone call had changed Nyan's life, how many more miracles waited for the refuseds? Enough to try, enough to matter. Mia's hands shook as she clutched the heavy folder to her chest. Her knees felt weak, but her heart burned with determination. She took a deep breath and pushed open Dr. Harrison's office door. The doctor looked up, surprised to see her standing there. Without a word, Mia placed the thick stack of papers on his desk. Inside were names of families ready to adopt, phone numbers of people who could help. Dr. Harrison's flipped through the pages slowly. His glasses slid down his nose as he peered at the documents. Finally, he sighed. "Mia, we can't save every child." She leaned forward, her fingers pressing into the desk. "But sir," she said, "what if we could save just one more?" A slow smile spread across the doctor's tired face. "Maybe, just maybe, we can." Something shifted in Willowbrook General. That one act of kindness rippled throughout the hospital. More people gave in to volunteering, some with new ideas and more contacts of family in need of a child. Donations and free pantries for the refused flooded the storerooms of the hospital. Free services and self-volunteering from church became every Sunday ritual. Even Nurse Gomez, who used to be all business, began softening. No more eye rolls when Mia came by. No more sharp comments about wasted time. Instead, something beautiful happened. She'd often be found lingering by the cribs after her shift ended. She stayed an extra hour to rock little Miguel to sleep. The change spread like sunlight through the hospital wing. The air itself felt warmer, like someone had finally turned on the love. Then, one night, Mia heard a sound that stopped her in her tracks. A tiny, hiccuping cry from the nursery. Without thinking, she scooped up the fussing baby girl, automatically swaying side to side. "It's all right, sweetheart," she murmured into the baby's peach fuzz hair. "You're safe now." As the little one calmed in her arms, Mia's thoughts drifted to Nian. Not with sadness anymore, but with quiet joy, knowing his story had changed everything. One rescued baby had become many. One stubborn volunteer had inspired an army. And now? Now every child here would know they mattered. Months passed, and the changes became impossible to ignore. Where there was once only white walls and silence, now stood a bright playroom with donated toys, a bulletin board full of smiling adoptive families. Dr. Harrison stood in the doorway one afternoon, watching a volunteer blow bubbles for giggling toddlers. He turned to Mia with tears in his eyes. "You showed us the way," he said simply. That night, as Mia was leaving, her phone pinged. There he was, Nian. Not the fragile baby she'd found, but a rosy-cheeked toddler sitting in a sunlit living room. His smile stretched, eyes sparkling with mischief and joy. Mia's fingers trembled against the screen. That face, the one she'd memorized in midnight feedings and whispered lullabies, was now full of light. Stepping into the courtyard, Mia tilted her face to the stars. "One child at a time," she whispered to the sky. Somewhere out there, Nian was safe. Somewhere in the hospital behind her, another baby was being rocked by a volunteer who cared. So tell me, dear listeners, what kindness have you been putting off that might change a life today? Mention your country. The comment section is open. Pour out your thoughts, your anger, your hopes. Let's keep this conversation alive. And from all of us at the Story Central, thank you for letting this story matter to you. Now go make your own.